Hello everyone, it's me again. The elephant called, you know my name.
Looking back, I could say I was popular for being creative and funny and silly and smart in primary school.
I'm going on anyway, about the getting dressed thing, where's my clothes? Wait, no, it's cool. Hey, you didn't even knock! Oh, the door was open. Have breakfast. Breakfast ready or really? Breakfast. No, yes, why? No, definitely not. Yes, no, maybe. I want breakfast in my hand. Yes, no time. See you later. See you later.
Smart, innovative, hardworking. I've been called like weird.
Just want to let you know that this is on 10 times speed and my mom watched all of this.
I was a really strange kid. I was called weird.
Son, please. It's my interview. Why can't I have another interview? So, as I was saying, my family's very busy. And I want to. And today is that. No, Daddy, please. You won't have money for tech shop then. If you shut up, and then I'll give you money for tech shop. As much as she gets 100 rand for tech shop. What about me all the time? You got a 20 rand, but because you were irritating me.
But it was more of an adornment and less of an insult. In grade 7, that was when I got my period and my puberty then started to kick in, and my worldview was the most drastic thing that began to change. For many people, I was known as the cool or weird be yourself girl. So these were my philosophical standpoints that justified my actions. Check how cute my laptop is. Okay, so I called this the Why Do People Behave Differently 2022, which was when I was 12 years old. According to the 12-year-old Brian Debo created How They Are Raised, what? You become the people you surround yourself with. Every individual human behaves differently. I believe everyone is built, if only the people they surround themselves with, the human minds all work the same, but actions and mindsets are created based off the experience each human has. In other words, everyone is different, but people are different because of each and everyone, otherwise we'd all be the same. That was the grade 9 me interpreting what I said in grade 7. You know, I still believe this stuff in grade 9. Every little detail of how you live your life changes the future. Anything you do or that has been done to you will cause the way you are to be different. According to your character, nothing can be undone. The people who say things to you will forever change the human you are. Don't surround yourself with people you don't like. So everyone matters makes a lively impact on you, whether you cared or not. So whether you like them or not, whether they are just someone you walk past and never got to see again, don't purposefully be constantly around people you dislike, because that would leave a bigger impact on you, whether it moves your perspective around. or they rub off on you. Your parents have the first influence on you, and everything that happens to you from a baby that you probably don't remember changes you. In other words, your parents or caretakers are normally the first people to change you, but while you're being changed by them, it doesn't mean you can't be changed by another person. And it's important to know that not all people have the same amount of change to you. Even the moment you open your eyes, the actions other people make from all their perspectives, like for example, the nurse in the hospital smiles at you when you're being born. That already starts to change every move you make and the way your non-functioning mind will react in the future. Your style and taste comes from your perspective when looking at the fashion industry. So I was very into fashion. You may not realize it, but you actually absorb the information you see and hear. So in other words, your item interests like clothing, your material interests, small vocabulary, small understanding as well, came from the way that you were exposed to those items. Your love and taste in other beings also comes from the information you see and hear about the world and others, from the parenting and your siblings, other family and people who have been involved in your life. Even your pet makes a difference in the way you see the world. You decide if people who do that in a certain way behave in a certain way about another matter, and from that your taste changes in the people you're interested in. So, in other words, the people you love because of information you have of people with similar ways of doing things. So, if that is what I believed, then there isn't really room for diversity to make sense. And so we'll get to why this is wrong. You have almost no control over your man-made nature. That is really self-defined. That's the way I saw the world. I was 12. I believe that you have no control. You are a product of your environment. People will walk past you. You can't stop the teacher from saying those words. You barely make your own decisions, and even the decisions that you make are made from knowledge. Sorry, all of the notifications. I'm actually a celebrity. I can see it on my phone as well, notifications. Just when you put WhatsApp on your... I'm sorry. I'll just quickly close the tab. Problem solved. Okay. You don't have as much control on your future actions as you think. Your nature is built up from the things that you do and the things that happen to you by other humans who have also got it from other humans who have got it from other humans who have got it from other humans who have got it from other humans. Quite sad.
Saying, Bronny, you're very funny. Like, a lot of the letters that I was going through earlier, like, was just saying that I'm very funny, right? And I was like, am I, Like, it's just a goof. It's just a goof. A few days ago, I thought I discovered happiness, but I don't think so, because it feels just the same as it did before I discovered happiness. So I was thinking for the past few days, academics. Back when I was very academically achieving, I felt very happy, and as soon as my academic marks, I received them, I felt very sad. If I really think about what I've just said, I think that I was sad. I can feel the sadness, but because I'm not really emotionally on it right now, I'm judging, which is something that I actually shouldn't be doing. And you think that your friends, if they see you through your hard times, if they see you through your tough times, right, they, in their mind, somewhere in the back, you have to be like the other kids to play with the other kids. Oh, I just wanted to mention, there was also this older girl that sat with me one day, and she said the one advice that she can give me is that you should stick with people that think the same as you and have the same goals and just same way of mind. And I was thinking, there's absolutely no one, so I don't belong here after hearing that. Even but that really is the truth. Stick with people that are like-minded. and I do not have people that are like-minded, so I'm really just out here to survive.
And then in November 2025, I made a note that says, "It looks like I believe we are a product of our environment and we have no soul." Yeah, out of ignorance, I didn't believe we had a soul, and therefore we are just products of evolution. That's the way that, looking back at it now, that I'm in grade 11 actually, that's the way, looking back at it now, I would interpret it. I was 12, you know? My mom told me about all the finances and her problems with my father. With good intentions, she wanted me to know what was happening around me. I really didn't understand the origin of morals, you know, I felt like it was like my problem, like when she was telling me everything, and you know, I felt like I had to get a job. But obviously as a 12-year-old, who's gonna hire you? So I started to like really envision that, like fantasize making money. And I didn't understand the origin of like morals because of my ego boundaries that had been overstepped, and I didn't know where my place in the world was because I had been given now responsibilities that I actually wasn't responsible for. So I didn't know where I was supposed to be, you know, in the world, because I can't get money, you know. And I didn't really believe in right or wrong because of I didn't know where it came from, you know. As a child, I wasn't really told what to do and disciplined like without reason. So I always needed to, you know, if I didn't think it was if I didn't feel like it was necessary, I didn't really have to do it, because my mom was raised very strictly, so she broke off from being really strict into being extremely not strict. It was out of rebellion, so she taught me from rebellion of herself as a child. You know, I was living to please myself really, as long as I am satisfied, you know, not as long as you are satisfied. You know, it always needs to, I think human rights often, a lot of the time also, you know, it's to back up yourself. Now, I don't want to say I don't believe in human rights, but I don't want to, you know, that stops me from being self-sacrificial, which I think is so important to being a good person. That's not pushover behavior. Self-sacrifice is just not doing what you want to do, but trusting a greater force to know better. I didn't own a brush, I didn't own a bra, I didn't care about what other people thought of me, and I couldn't see what other people saw in me because I was really insecure and I portrayed that outwardly. So I didn't feel loved, and I didn't then project that. I projected that I didn't feel loved. I was always told that I was different, but it was starting like I was trying to conclude why it was that I was different. And I didn't start the normal teenage hygiene. I just continued to do what I had always done, which was, you know, how, I mean, nowadays little children do all sorts of like face care things, but I just continued to not care like when I was a little child. I justify that because I should be able to please myself. It doesn't please me to have to do all that hygiene stuff, you know. My mom would have bought me what I needed if she had known how I felt, but I wanted to seem cool and calm, so I didn't speak up about beauty products, you know. It's expensive anyway, so you have to be dirty to clean yourself, and I just had too much pride to humble myself to soap. I had too much pride to try and change, so I wanted to seem tough, so I downplayed, you know, all the needs that I didn't want to acknowledge that I had. I wanted my mom to think I was strong and I could handle myself, because of course now I was responsible for all these things that I actually wasn't responsible for. And and that partly made me obsessed with exercising. I wanted to bulk up. I wanted to seem so tough. I was 12. I am naturally a very sensitive person. This runs in the family. There's just a lot of sensitivity, and I've been I was also the oldest sibling from my mom's side, which is where I grew up. The responsibility of confidentiality within my own household, because I was the man of the house. I have an audience outside. As soon as I got to high school, I was surrounded by very rich, confident, talented Afrikaans girls. And I wasn't really fluent in Afrikaans by that time, so I felt very excluded. I also didn't have a phone. So I felt very excluded because it was an electronic school, right? It sounds a bit whack, right? But it's one of the best government schools in the country, and my mom moved to my town for me to go to the school when I was a baby. So you best know that this is the top tier. When you're new at a school, the kids don't have the law of how awesome you are to be supportive of your phases and worldview. Like the overseers, the seniors, I was scared of them so much that I would really whenever I saw any matric in the hallway, I would take a completely different route. I was very afraid of them. I was entitled to being late because my mom was late, and when you have a whole family being late, it's kind of really hard to just be on time just by waking up early or whatever, because I'm not the only one, I was entitled to not attending certain classes. That shadow is my cat. Yeah, that's what you're seeing in the light. Okay. It is 9 in the morning, by the way. 8. It's 8 in the morning, by the way. I was entitled to not brushing my hair because my hair was short, and then in grade 8 I needed to tie my hair up, but I was not gonna brush it or anything because I wanted me being late and me not brushing my hair and not attending was people's first impression of me, and that's not a very good first impression. They didn't realize what was going on inside of me for me to be able to behave that way, which I think was fear and fear of people judging me, fear of people judging me for trying because I'm not even worthy of trying. I said all of this now because the reason for my behavior is more important than my behavior, because it's the reason that my behavior changed. The social pressure drove me to not care because I felt so overwhelmed by the pressures that I felt, I'm just swag or nonchalant or, those terms weren't really used at that time. But that was what I was. I'm just a girl, but I didn't look like a girl. I didn't treat myself like a girl. In an all-girls school, those are justifiable reasons to bully someone for. Grade 9 is the year people started looking for objects to objectify. I remember the first day of grade 9, kids were already starting to make cut of the teachers, and I was man, you kind of pulling this out of your butt. There's actually nothing to be making fun of, You're finding everything and anything. I thought everyone was gonna love my short hair when I was in grade 7, when the people already knew me. That was pretty short-sighted of me. Because I didn't believe in right or wrong, I couldn't really feel happiness, And I didn't really have a purpose or a will to do better. The foremost reason I got bullied was because I believed that I was right and everyone else was wrong. So I believed like I was better than everybody else, which is why I didn't want to actually like mingle too much with anybody else. And I know that might sound like, but how? You know, you're so like insecure. And it was really that like insecure, that pride, because in a sense I feel that pride is always insecurity, because if having security in yourself is not, that's not sustainable enough. What I don't understand is why there are bugs in my room. I just painted my room, you know, like I know it's summer, but like come on, like seriously. Sorry, I'm sorry. A bit too close. It's like hard for you to open up and be happy and be vulnerable with your classmates, because then again you feel like unwanted by your classmates. So it's quite hard for you to actually be a better person when people are bullying you. Yeah, which is kind of a very horrible cycle, because people are bullying you for not being vulnerable, and then people are, yeah, or you know, you reveal your personality to people when you're behaving like that. In any case, you know, people, you project sort of what's inside of you, and me, I project what's inside of me very well. So I don't know if it's the case that everybody does that, but you can sort of see what's happening inside on the outside. I didn't have a phone, so I didn't understand like the trend culture of people saying like all sorts of things online. I had YouTube Shorts, but I didn't have TikTok, and I thought TikTok was a bit cringy, so I didn't really know about like also on YouTube, like there's a lot of educational things as well, and you like informed of the trends before they really like flourish on the short content platforms. So I really like it was old for me when when people started saying it, and I feel like with TikTok there's lots of people joining the trend late, but on YouTube like it's kind of fast. So like yeah, I was particularly interested in geopolitics, and on YouTube I would like learn about different countries, and that was like culturally informative. You know, I feel right now like I've traveled the world, which is a very ignorant thing to say, I know, but like I know how every country like looks, sort of, you know, and I know like their population and, you know, currency and whatever. So that was, no, not anymore. It's been a year. But like I was really deeply into this stuff. My storage is having problems with me, and I think that's because I don't know how to access my trash. I don't know how to remove everything I don't know how to remove everything. You can see that I ate a lot since the last time I turned my camera on. A few hours ago I had like hold on. It's gonna balance out my face. Aww. I have a lot of faith in these glasses. Everyone else thought I was weird and took photos of me as a joke. So I was cyber bullied and bullied in real life. I feel like it's quite like rude to take photos of people. Like I feel like that's just like so like you know, I was hurt, I was ashamed. You know, it's quite dehumanizing for other people to, you know, to do that to you. You know, I was like a bit of a clown to people. And, you know, just think of like somebody that you know that people would do this to. Or just imagine to yourself, like, it's kind of rude, you know? It's rude. Yeah, I was a clown also because I didn't know what was happening. I was very like ignorant to the fact that this was them disliking me, because I try and be like optimistic the entire time, and I do that in ignorance because I don't want to assume things that aren't right. Like I really don't want to assume anything. So I didn't know what was happening to me. You know, people would even call me in to do TikTok trends, you know, and all these like little TikTok pranks. That is like bullying in this 2020 2026, and I think people don't realize that it is bullying, because those same girls that did that also stood up for all sorts of things. I don't think they realized, but that was, but a lot of children are very aware that they are bullies, but they just don't realize that it's right. So I was also too prideful to admit that I was being hurt, I was too prideful to admit that I didn't deserve that. It was sort of like, okay, this is the way that it is, do what you want to me. I thought it was my responsibility that people were bullying me, that is the amount of pride that I had. And looking back at it, even if you think like, okay, that's nice and open-minded of you, looking back at it, that's not a helpful way of seeing it, and it's not a very true way of seeing it actually, because it's not actually my responsibility. Your suffering isn't your responsibility. I wanted to feel emotion and to have the energy to create art and express myself like I did when I was younger. But in grade 9, I believed I wasn't worthy enough to express myself, I just wanna... This... No, okay. I'm just gonna keep it over here. I wasn't worthy enough to be looked at because people have expectations that I couldn't meet. I didn't accept love and appreciation because, I didn't have it and I didn't project it. I didn't believe it at all. I started searching for morals outside of my I am the product of my environment mentality, because if you don't believe in right and wrong, like I said, it's hard to be happy, and how do you discern what to do? How do you make a decision? So you have to be really just one with emotion to be able to not have rules that you work by. And I'm not the brightest, most smartest person. I need guidance. I think that's why people turn to God in any case. We need guidance, and we don't believe that we have the power in our, by ourselves. I fought hard against the numbness because I couldn't feel happy or sad. And I was deep into my philosophy, so much that, I didn't realize how I was actually worshipping myself. And I made rules like morals are subconscious and everyone is confused. Those are things that I really believed about everybody. Whereas now I know that people aren't confused. There is a right that we can actually come into. Was there perhaps a universal truth? I didn't believe that. A good or a bad, maybe. I was starting to question. And what if all I needed was actually love? Because I didn't really care about the way that people were treating me. I didn't see the significance of it, which is not good. And I was so delusional. How the cartoon villains always look so absolutely out of their mind, delusional. I wanted love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. At this point I was 14. I wanted to feel something that would make me feel good. So I secretly took my self-righteous bottom to self-help. Now, this was me humbling myself to God. And lo and behold, a book that said prayer helps us feel satisfied with ourselves, and satisfied with what we want. Prayer helps us to be satisfied. So I started to wonder about spirituality. I didn't believe in a soul or in love at first, but I did believe in the spirits. So could it be that some spirits are good and some spirits are bad? That must be supernatural, because my own philosophy about creation couldn't work that out. I was one day romanticizing a life outside of an South African all-girls school on Pinterest, and then I noticed like some AI Jesus ad of this little kid talking to Jesus while he helps her. I wanted what I had when I was little, which was before I started getting corrupted. And of course we're born as sinners, and I was very, very self-righteous and also absorbing my environment, which was not necessarily very holy. So I wanted to feel like a little kid again. I started to feel a lot of nostalgia because, you know, I was so confused. This is someone's God. You can't be making jokes like this. AI Jesus content. So because of the AI Jesus on Pinterest, I started to consider Jesus, and I became very interested in his love and his teachings. Unreferenced quotes from the Bible started appearing on my Pinterest feed, so I created a board. And these quotes contradicted me, and convicted me, and were so strange to me. And yet, when I let them influence me, and I took their advice, they were so helpful to me. I was so scared of church, but my craving for Jesus was practical and real. These scriptures filling a hole in me were not by any means a cliche to me, because I had no idea what love was. I got an opportunity to attend the Touching Hearts course. The first lesson really impacted me was that when they said love is a choice, and I felt that we had no control over anything. So that was revolutionary to me. You know, you're saying I can control myself, my environment doesn't determine me. You know, this goes against everything that I believe. I believe, you know, there's nothing we can really do about anything. So I started to see people very differently, because now I had a choice of how I was supposed to treat them, you know, like to treat them with love, and learning, you know, what is love, you know. And I can choose to love the girls who pulled my hair and the girls who took photos of me doing my homework. This was the moment that I realized I was set free. No matter where these teachings came from, like for me this was supernatural because of how they worked. When I woke up to the lessons on spiritual warfare, suddenly something wasn't so bubbly anymore. I couldn't stand these lessons. Like the demons in me were fighting and trembling, and I didn't want to attend these lessons in the course. And this was because now you have to come to terms with there's a right and there's a wrong, and you have to stand for what's right. I sort of accepted all ancient teachings as reliable. Like the Quran says this, people have been following it for all these years. Like people can trust, people can also, you know, be saved through that. But with spiritual warfare, it was an understanding of the spiritual realm in a bit of an urgent way, like to see like this is wrong, like this is bad, people need to be saved from this. Yeah, all of a sudden love was wrath. I didn't understand the wrath of the Lord, and then all of a sudden, you know, I had to discern between good and bad. Morals couldn't be subjective, and I needed to face this universal truth that my idols and other spiritual fulfillment needed to go in Jesus' name. And by choosing to fight for Jesus against the darkness that consumed me, I was choosing to become a Christian. So before, I really was getting close with Jesus, but I didn't identify as a Christian because I wasn't 100% sure. But knowing that, you know, I'm fighting for Jesus, that was when I became sure that I'm a Christian. only with this new philosophy was I capable of identifying the bad within the girls that were mean to me, because I didn't know how it was exactly that they were bad. And now you can identify the sin from the sinner, so you can see the beautiful person that God created them to be, and then you can also see all the sins that they are doing. And when you don't know what's right or wrong, you sort of don't really understand what is happening to them and what's wrong with them. So now can rebuke demons in them. I thought the way they treated me was a fair payment for me not fitting the standards, because that's the way that nature works, right? It's the same I felt with racism. Honestly, I didn't believe in racism because that's just people's environments and their exposure to things you can't really like. But it comes to a point where there is a right and a wrong, and so like it's just like that's an example actually to, now that I said that, that's a good example of the way that I saw the world. Like it was really like sort of just let things happen, bro. What I believe I needed, what I believe they needed was the love of Jesus Christ, and then I could have like an urgency in me to want to reach them and want to show God's love to them. And obviously now if I'm looking to God and his love is in me, why wouldn't I be doing those things? I don't feel loved when I'm being mocked, and I don't feel loved when I'm the joke, and therefore I don't think that there is a holy spirit amongst it, but a destructive, defiling spirit in that when you mock people. Jesus loved the people who mocked them so much that he gave up his life willingly for their salvation. My pride was standing in the way of me letting Jesus reflect through me. When I responded in love and I made my classmates feel like somebody died for them, that all the good in them was not from them, I started to feel really humble and thankful for the environment that God didn't let destroy me in. When I responded in love and made my classmates feel like somebody died for them, that all the good in them was not from them, I started to feel really humble and thankful for the environment that God didn't destroy me in. I'm really thankful to be in my school. I didn't deserve the treatment I got when I was 14. I'm very thankful for my school. The treatment was evil, but God used the evil to show me how good he is. Your bullies are often possessed by demons that you can send to where Jesus wants them to go. I've been officially Christian for 2 years now. I'm 16 and I found God when I was 14. I still struggle with fear and pride, but thanks to the Bible, I can identify my problems and face them. I'm not confused anymore. Hey? So, thank you for that.
Oh, I'm really recording it.
On les voit les guignols en train de monter là à pied.
This is fun. I told you going down wouldn't be scary. Okay, so rude. I'm also stuck.
Hey, I'm in space. You guys are taking up my